Ego death isn't just a weird spiritual phrase. It's one of the most extreme things your mind can do. It can appear in meditation, childbirth, psychedelics, or even after a crisis. Some call it sacred, others call it destabilizing. In this video, you'll learn why people chase it, the dangers almost nobody warns you about, and 3 steps to stay safe. Because without preparation, ego death can leave you fractured, but with the right support, it can be the most transformative shifts you'll ever experience. Now, let's start with the question, why would anyone want to lose their sense of self? It sounds reckless. Your self is what organizes life. It remembers where you parked, pays the bills, and reminds you that you have to pick your child up from school at 3:15. Without it, daily life collapses. So why would people seek to kill it? Well, here's the paradox. The same ego that guides you can also imprison you. It becomes a cage built from the endless noise. It's the endless radio station of me. Ego death, in this sense, is turning that station off, even briefly. For some, the ego is armor. It's necessary, but unbearably heavy. For others, it's a critic that never sleeps. And for almost everyone, it sometimes feels like a trap. That's why the idea of loosening its grip has such pull. Not everyone wants to vanish into nothingness. Most want a moment of existing without surveillance, without the commentary. Across traditions, this impulse repeats. Zen Buddhism calls it satori. Sufis call it fana. Christian mystics described it as dying to self. Modern psychonauts use the word ego disillusion. Different names, same drive. To step outside the tight boundaries of me. But here's the catch. How you approach it often shapes what you find. A disciplined mediator loosening the self layer by layer may feel deep calm. A person thrown into ego loss suddenly by crisis may feel like they're drowning. And that's why it matters to ask. Are you running toward freedom or are you running away from pain? The answer often predicts whether ego death feels like release or collapse. So what is it actually like? For some, it's bliss. The critic falls silent, the sense of being watched disappears, the walls between self and world dissolve. Imagine walking through a forest and realizing you can't tell where your skin ends and the leaves begin. You feel like part of the air itself. Many describe it as being carried by a warm current, safe, held, infinite. For others, it's absolute horror. Imagine reaching for your own name and finding nothing. Imagine looking at your hands and not recognizing them as yours. Thoughts don't feel like they belong to you anymore. It feels like falling into a void with no ground. Panic surges as if you're dying. Both of these are ego death. The difference isn't in the event, but in the interpretation. Here's a way to test it for yourself. Close your eyes for 5 seconds. Find where you usually sense you. Maybe it's behind your eyes, maybe in your chest. Now imagine that sense dissolving, like smoke drifting in all directions. If you couldn't locate yourself anymore, how would it feel? For some, it's strangely calm. For others, unbearable. The body mirrors this split. In blissful ego death, breathing slows, the chest softens, muscles release. In terrifying ego death, the opposite. Shallow breaths, racing heart, sweaty palms. One feels like merging with an ocean, the other like drowning in it. Both are real and both leave people forever changed. But who is it dangerous for? When identity strips away too quickly, especially in someone already fragile, the collapse can feel like suffocation. Voices sound far away, hands don't feel like yours, but who is most at risk? People with unresolved trauma. People with a history of psychosis in themselves or family. People who are already running on no sleep or crushed by stress. For them, ego death doesn't act like liberation, it's like tearing open wounds. And the risk isn't the moment itself. Without integration afterward, the mind may struggle to rebuild. Who am I now? How do I fit? Without answers, people can spiral into paranoia and panic. Some remain convinced they've disappeared permanently. This is why care matters. Watch for panic that won't ease, detachment that lingers, and visions that keep returning, or weeks where daily life feels impossible. These aren't marks of awakening, they're signals of collapse, so you need to get support. Now, let's be fair. For many, ego death doesn't shatter them, it frees them. The inner critic goes silent. The shame that's weighed on them for years dissolves. Stepping outside, the air no longer feels separate, but part of them. Across traditions, this is the promise. Not emptiness, but fullness. Not destruction, but expansion. People describe it as dropping a heavy backpack, or no longer trapped by tiles and labels. Clinical reports echo the same story. Under the right conditions, depression softens, addictions loosen, and what once felt impossible to escape suddenly feels light. For some, it's the first deep breath after years of suffocation. So, how do you tip the scales toward freedom and not collapse? 3 pillars: stability, support, and integration. Baseline stability. Don't attempt ego dissolution in a crisis. Sleep-deprived, traumatized, or already fragile minds are at high risk of spinning out. Stability is ground, and without it, ego death is like diving into deep water, already exhausted. Setting and support. Your environment matters. A quiet, safe space, free from sudden noise and chaos, lowers risk. Support matters even more. Having a trusted person present, whether a guide, therapist, or a calm friend, can mean the difference between panic and peace. Integration. Ego death is like a storm. Integration is what comes after. Reflection, journaling, therapy, community. Without integration, experiences stay raw and chaotic. With it, they settle into insight. Now, here's something practical. Grounding. Place both feet on the floor. Take a slow breath. In for 4, out for 6. Look around and name 5 things you see. Hold an object and describe its texture out loud. These simple anchors can pull you back from spinning into panic. Practice them now so they're ready when you need them. The phrase ego death sounds final, but almost no one describes it that way. People return. They eat dinner, answer emails, and live an ordinary life again. The experience doesn't erase identity forever, it just loosens it. Think of it as not death, but rehearsal. A chance to practice release, to grip the rope less tightly, to discover what life feels like when you're not trapped by constant commentary. The danger is idealizing the state itself, chasing disappearance for its own sake. That path leads to bypassing, clinging to peak moments instead of doing the daily work of growth. Ego death is not the prize, it's a glimpse. The value lies in what you build afterward. Now, pause here. Ask yourself, does your self-protective identity serve you or suffocate you? Is it armor that shields you or a cage that traps you? Write one line in the comments, either a moment when you felt less like yourself or one practice that grounds you. Because ego death is neither pure danger nor pure salvation. It's a doorway. What matters most is how you step through it and how you come back. It all depends on preparation, support, and integration. If you want to know more about the darker side of spiritual life and how to survive it, watch this video here. Why it sucks to be a spiritual human.